Okay, so I wanted to get started really asking about the development of the film. What was that process like of really getting the script together, and maybe what was the inspiration in telling the story and working on the script?
Well, really, it was inspired kind of like by my own kind of like troubles with neighbors over the years. And in fact, at that time when I was writing the script, I had neighbors upstairs who were young kids, party animals, kind of keeping me up till 4 in the morning every night. So it's one of those ones where it kind of like the idea grew out of one of those nights of kind of being up at 4 in the morning and
Mm.
just kind of thinking, actually, is there a film here? And the more I spoke to other people about about my experiences, they would share their experiences and their crazy stories and nightmare kind of different kind of nightmare people that had moved in and sort of how it affected their life. And it just seemed like this really kind of like universal topic that we could tap into that kind of hadn't really been done, strangely. Um, and yeah, kind of like as soon as I kind of settled on that idea, it actually all happened like quite quickly. It was kind of one of those ones. Sometimes scripts take absolutely years. You work on them for years and they go nowhere. And I think this one I kind of wrote as sort of a stream of consciousness. It just sort of came out in kind of a month, and we had this kind of most of the script that's there now. We did a bit of tweaking over the sort of year it took to get it made, but yeah, most of it was kind of just this sort of a sort of stream of consciousness, really.
And while I was watching the film, I felt that it was really relatable. Like I have some neighbors who kind of act the same way, like over holidays and really play music loudly, and so that was something that I felt was really relatable, and with the characters and how it really affects everyone. And was that something that you also really like wanted to focus on and really creating like these main characters who are really relatable and maybe react differently in this kind of situation, or just what was that process like in really creating the differences in the characters as well?
Yeah, well, I wanted to make something that first of all kind of felt very authentic. Um, so obviously this is set in kind of a very specific kind of setting in the UK. It's kind of a seaside town, which is kind of a lot of these seaside towns in the UK are towns that have kind of sort of been left behind. Um, and so kind of we started off from that sort of place of authenticity. And then yeah, we just wanted to build kind of a central kind of like conflict around those two characters, the differences between them. Her being this kind of very mild-mannered lady, kind of very caring person, very sort of soft, gentle person, very kind of like has this very particular routine. Um, and then just the complete contrast of these guys moving in next door that just kind of have sort of no social boundaries whatsoever. Um, you probably don't even intend to come in and kind of ruin her life, but like I say, they just have absolutely no boundaries at all, no cares for how they affect other people. I just thought there was something in that contrast, really.
Besides writing the script, I also wanted to ask about going on to direct the film and what that experience was like, and this being your first feature that you directed. How did you really approach directing it and working on the script?
But it was just a natural progression from the shorts that I'd done, really. So I'd written all the shorts that I'd done. I wrote myself as well. Um, so I think when you're a writer director, you've already directed the film in your head before you get there. And then when you get there, really the challenges come when you can't get it to work exactly like it's in your head, and you're having to adapt and kind of work out how to get the essence of a scene onto the screen, even if you can't get exactly what you had in your head. I think that's kind of the challenge.
Yeah. Also, with the location being so important, with them being neighbors, what was that process like also in really creating the production design and securing the locations and really deciding where you wanted to shoot the film as well?
It were Yeah, that was a tricky one. because we did, again, in terms of kind of like trying to create that really authentic kind of feel. Like we wanted to shoot in real houses on a real estate. It's in a specific area called Dagenham, which is sort of outside of London. It's basically Europe's biggest council estate. Um, and yeah, it was kind of it was a challenge to be able to get someone out. Firstly, to get someone who was willing to move out of their house for over a month so that we could shoot. That was a challenge. I think my producer went round on his scooter and delivered, I think, something like 600 or 700 letters, of which back we got, probably from all those letters, we probably got about 10 replies. But yeah, finally we found a very sweet lady who was happy to move into an Airbnb for a while and let us film in her house. And I think we tried to do as little as possible, really. Obviously, there was production design. We moved things around. We brought in sofas and stuff, but we um tried to keep the essence of what was there so that it felt really authentic, basically.
What was the casting process like for the film as well, and really deciding which actors you wanted to play the main role in the film?
Well, it was a mixture of things. So Lindsay, I was already aware of and was a massive fan of. I'd seen her in a film called Trespass Against Us, which I don't know if you've seen. It's a British movie that was got picked up by A24. It's got Michael Fassbender and it's got Brendan Gleeson and it's got Sean Harris. And I just remember seeing her in there amongst these guys and her kind of not standing out at all. She was like more than matching these guys on screen. Just thought she has very, very unique kind of screen presence, very, very natural. Um, so I was a big fan of hers already. So it was more a question of kind of me trying to chase her and try and convince her to do it firstly, and then kind of trying to find a window where we could work around her. So yeah, Lindsay I had in mind kind of from very, very, very early on. Barry Ward, who plays Kev, he was also someone that I'd been a fan of for a long time. He'd done quite a lot of work in the UK. He was the lead in a Ken Loach film called Jimmy's Hall that I saw a while before, and he's just like an outstanding actor and outstanding guy. So again, we approached him and were lucky enough that he said yes. And then Aston, who plays Dino, i.e. a neighbor from next door, that was different. He came to us through auditions and basically blew us away. He did a tape to start with, that just was very funny, to be honest. The tape was really, really funny, which kind of wasn't what I was expecting. He bought like a completely different take on the character. But I was a bit worried to start with whether he's going to be intimidating enough. But yeah, we brought him in to audition. It's probably the best audition I've seen. He absolutely sort of blew me away, really. Yeah.
Mhm. And with Lindsay, I had heard of her work before, but hadn't really seen any of it yet. So I thought that was an interesting, like, kind of first glance into just the work that she was able to do. And so I was interested in seeing like the film you mentioned earlier, and just what was your experience like getting to really work with her and the rest of the cast as well?
Well, in terms of kind of getting her to do it, you mean?
Yeah, yeah, and then
Well,
like and also like signing on, getting to rehearse with her and building the character as well.
yeah, well, we did, to be honest, we didn't do a huge amount of, well, we didn't really do rehearsal at all. We did sort of one day where we got all three main characters together and we kind of did sort of a read through of the scenes. But it was mainly kind of just a temperature check thing. It was more just everyone kind of like getting on the same page and meeting each other before we turned up there. But we sort of purposely didn't rehearse because we wanted to keep that kind of fresh, sort of instinctive type of performance. Didn't really want her and Aston to get too pally before they got there. you know, Aston likes to kind of mess with the script and throw different lines in anyway. So we thought it was a good idea to kind of play with that and let him throw lines at her that she wasn't always expecting. So you get that really natural kind of dynamic between them. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. And what was your experience like also getting to work with your cinematographer to really showcase the actors like physicality and really the way that they interacted on screen in terms of the visuals?
Yeah, well, we had a great DP called David Bird, who shot the movie. And yeah, we did quite a lot of prep, um, mainly in terms of just kind of like shooting style, how we wanted the lighting. Talked a lot again about kind of like naturalism in the first half of the movie that kind of gradually turns into something a little bit more expressionistic towards the end. Um, Kind of bolder colors and red light and stuff. The more the kind of sleep deprivation takes hold. Um, we thought a lot about kind of framing in terms of sort of like constantly framing her through doorways or against windows and silhouettes, constantly kind of like boxing her in and making her feel isolated within the frame, but also kind of boxed in and imprisoned. That was something we talked about a lot. And yeah, just really trying to create, trying to use a lot of practical lights, natural light wherever we could. Obviously, a lot of the films at night, but wherever we could, we stuck to natural light to try to keep that feel of authenticity. Really, we weren't too worried about texture kind of seeping onto the image. Again, it felt like that texture kind of like grounded you in the place where she lives. It's kind of quite a worn down area, so we didn't want the images to be kind of like too glossy, if you like, or nor the lighting.
Now with the movie having its premiere coming up at the Tribeca Festival, what does that mean for you to be able to share the movie with the audiences here in New York and being able to premiere the film here? What has that experience been like during after the premiere?
It's massive, really. Like, it's a bit of a dream come true. I've literally never been to New York. I grew up on New York films, sort of dreaming of going there, but I've never managed to actually get there. So to be going there with a movie like means a huge amount. Um, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what people think. Obviously, a little bit scared as well. Always scary showing people who haven't seen the movie, but yeah, no, looking forward to it and just stoked to be there, really.
After the movie plays at Tribeca, what's coming up next for the film? Do you have any other festivals coming up that you can also discuss, or just what's coming up next for the film?
Not yet. We're still in that process of trying to work out what the kind of this will be the worldwide premiere. So we're trying to work out at the moment what's going to be more like either the UK or the European premiere. Um, but no news yet. Hopefully soon.
Mhm. Well, thank you very much again. I think that was mainly it, but I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today.
Ah, thank you so much, Karen. Nice to meet
You're
you.
welcome. You too. Thanks again. Mhm.
Cheers.
Thank
Thank,
you both.
thank you again.
Cheers,
I
Lee.
appreciate it.
Jed, I'll see you in a second.
Mhm.
Okay, mate.